We're now joined from Islamabad by Pakistan's Defence Minister Khawaja Asif. Many thanks for joining us on the programme. It's very good to see you today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking to UK media earlier, you've claimed that Pakistan did, quote, dirty work for the United States and the West, including the UK, for decades and is now suffering the consequences. Could you please elaborate on that statement and provide any examples of such an arrangement, if possible?
Well, I was referring to our cooperation when the Soviet Union entered Afghanistan way back in the 80s. We had no problem with what was happening in Afghanistan. But we joined an alliance way back in the 80s, and we suffered a lot. And the United States abandoned us around 89 or 90 and went away, and we were left high and dry to face the consequences of siding with the coalition against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. And then came the 9/11. 9/11 again, we joined the coalition, and we provided all possible help from our soil. All the supplies used to go through us, and all of the facilities which were, asked from us. We provided those facilities. Both these wars, in my humble opinion, were not our wars. These were wars between superpowers, or these were wars which concerned terrorism in Afghanistan and, export of terrorism from Afghanistan. Pakistan, in both cases, when the things were wrapped up in the 80s, and then 4 or 5 years back when NATO forces exited from Afghanistan, Pakistan was again left face the consequences of these two interventions alone. The terrorism has become a daily routine in Pakistan. And this terrorism is coming from Afghan soil. We have 6 million refugees living in our country without any proper documentation. And they are huge burden on our resources. They are involved in terrorism. They provide security to the Taliban who cross in Pakistan from Afghanistan to blow up mosques, to blow up offices, and all sorts of terrorist activities. So this is what I referred to the interview I gave yesterday or day before yesterday, and I've been saying this thing for a very long time, that we had no business to enter into Afghanistan when the Soviet Union invaded or intervened or went there on invitation of Kabul. Well, factual position is that they went there on the invitation of Kabul. The intervention was not an invasion. But, we became a party to the whole conflict, and there were consequences to bear for us for a very long time, and we're still paying the price for that. And same happened after 9/11. In both cases, we were left, to face the consequences of because we are in the neighborhood. We share border with Afghanistan. The two communities, the Pashtun communities, are both sides, living half of it, or maybe 40% of it in Afghanistan, rest in Pakistan. So this is what we are facing, and nobody is there to take responsibility of what's happening to us. We perhaps the main target or main victim of terrorism in this region is Pakistan, and we are being blamed by India for something with which we have nothing to do.
Well, yeah, India also claims it's a victim of terrorism, of course. Coming back to this so-called dirty work, why exactly did Islamabad agree to provide this for the West, in your view?
I think it was a mistake. If you remember, in both cases, we had military rulers in those days. General Zia way back in the 80s, and General Musharraf earlier in this century, in 2011. So there was no, public support or public consent needed or sought by the rulers then. It was decided by one or two or three persons on the top, and the Pakistan joined the effort. I actually, why I criticize that effort is because of the consequence we are facing today, because of the effort we joined way back twice in the past, you know. So that is the main grounds of have. I think it was a huge mistake. Pakistan was a very peaceful country with absolutely no religious problems, no religious extremism. We had no extremism at all. We were a very tolerant society. It was made to, the society was then, the whole ethos of the society was changed to support the jihad. And this was jihad which was invented by the West. It was not a jihad. It was a power struggle between two superpowers. So this is a long story. We have a separate program on this, you know. But this is what happened, and nobody can deny that. This is how things did happen. And way back in 1889, when America went away from this area, we were slapped with Pressler amendments. There were embargoes against Pakistan. Pakistan was isolated, despite the fact that we were the springboard for whatever was happening in Afghanistan. We supplied all sorts of help, all sorts. Our madrasas were providing the religious zealots who were going across the border, fighting with the Soviet Union as jihad. This was all misinterpreted, which was all misconstrued. The situation was not like that, but it was serving the interest of superpower, the United States of America and the Europeans. So it continued, and Pakistan for then still suffers from it, you know, the consequences. Whatever is happening today in Pakistan, the terrorism in Pakhtunkhwa province, terrorism in Balochistan, basically stems from what happened on giving a historical reference to that.
And so what is Islamabad doing in the present to tackle the terrorism problem? What measures has your government taken to crack down on groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba?
Lashkar-e-Taiba is an ancient, it's a defunct thing. It doesn't exist anymore. That is a name which is taken from the past and from the archives. You know, it is something which doesn't exist anymore.
This is the group that's rumoured to be responsible for the massacre in Kashmir earlier this week.
We have the Prime Minister of Pakistan offered this morning to have an international investigation and to find out who's the culprit, who perpetrated this massacre. Let India come forward and accept our offer, and there should be a commission from different countries, from the region and from other parts of the globe also, responsible nations, Security Council members or UN members. You know, we are ready to welcome any commission or any committee formed to investigate this incident. We'll welcome that.
Since the massacre in Kashmir early this week, tensions have been rising by the day. Pakistan has slammed India's suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty while saying that any attempts to physically affect the flow of Pakistani water would be, quote, an act of war. How are you expecting to proceed on this matter?
You know, as we speak, I can see on the screen, on television screen in front of me, India has released unprecedented flow of water into the rivers which are coming into Pakistan from Kashmir, from occupied Kashmir, which they have to inform us. Any flow, inflow or any, reduction in flow, it has to be informed because we are low riparian country. So they have done just you know, in River Jhelum, the water has risen by 10 feet in last few hours. So this is what is happening at the moment as we speak, as we talk. India is releasing water. It's like I would call it water terrorism. You know, without any warning, without any. So low-lying areas in Pakistan will be flooded. There will be destruction. There will be destruction of crops. There will be destruction of. There will be destruction of populated area.
As things continue to intensify, plenty of fears have been expressed about the possibility of a nuclear standoff between Pakistan and India. If the ongoing crisis escalates further, are there any guarantees that we won't see a doomsday scenario here? Is Islamabad in contact with New Delhi on this highly sensitive matter?
I don't think so. I think there's a very far-fetched analysis that this will ultimately result in a nuclear conflict. I don't think so. The countries know the consequences of a nuclear conflict. So this is something which guarantees us any escalation from Indian side, knowing that we are nuclear powers, give us some sort of security against some irresponsible, you know, adventure by India or by you know, the only hostile country we have around us is India. We don't have problems in the rest of the geography around us. So this is something which is, I don't think so. This is something which is stretching the imagination a bit too much, you know.
In the dying days of colonial rule in 1947, a British lawyer hastily drew the Kashmir borderline. Lord Cyril Radcliffe later admitted he knew nothing about the region. To what extent did his actions create the divisions and problems still plaguing the area today, in your view?
You know, if you, you know, go through the history of British colonies all over the world, Africa and Asia particularly, you will find disputes or remnants of, you know, controversies, geographical disputes, other disputes, racial disputes, everywhere. So this is a legacy of a colonial power, which is, you know, I have great respect for the United Kingdom but this is a reality. This is a historical fact that wherever they were as a colonial master, they left some sort of dispute, some sort of unresolved problems in those areas, which are still simmering, and then those foreign colonies are still not in 100% peace. So this what has happened in Radcliffe had nothing to do with Pakistan. He was given a you know, map, and he just like you know, if you give a map to a child and he will scribble over it, he just scribbled over it. Even the houses were divided on the boundary lines. Houses were divided, small villages were divided, families were divided. So it's a very bitter legacy. Hundreds of thousands of people died on both sides. Pakistanis, you know, people who migrated to Pakistan, about 500,000 people died while crossing the border. This was a very bloody partition. Britain left this area in shambles, and it was a bloodbath, you know, of which Britain never assumed responsibility. The responsibility, as you pointed out, that Radcliffe had nothing to do with this area. He had no clue of the geography of this area. But it's a tragedy, and the disputes which are Kashmir number one on the top, where it's a legacy from the British Raj. They left this dispute to be dealt with the two countries, and we have gone to war maybe 4 or 5 times on Kashmir. So this is something I think Britain owes some explanation for that. You know, the people of subcontinent, not only Pakistan, Indians also.
There's a lot of concern across the world about the rising tensions and how rapidly things are rising. Some countries, including Iran, have stated they're ready to mediate between Pakistan and India. Do you think such efforts are needed at the moment, and would you be prepared to accept them?
We can, we have offered to the international community that they can hold an independent investigation. It could be up to the United Nations or any other international organization. Iran is a neighbor and a friend. Any initiative from Iranians and other countries and other in the neighborhood will be most welcome, and it will be very positive. I think India has good relationship with Iran, other countries in the region. As I earlier said, China is very relevant because Kashmir is shared by China, Pakistan, India. It's a trilateral interest in Kashmir. So that could be also relevant. The other powers, the Western countries, United States, Britain actually owes us something of the sort which will help us sort out this problem.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. We've been speaking to Pakistan's Defence Minister.
Pleasure talking to you.